You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
Did you hear about the female anchor? The female news anchor that has now been charged with attacking her own mama on Halloween? She attacked her with a knife. No one, y'all know about this story at all? Now, if you don't know about this story, I'm about to get you guys hip to it really quick. This is absolutely insane. Okay. She is being charged. This is a St. Louis Fox TV anchor that goes by Angelynn Mock, who allegedly attacked her own mama, unalived her, and now she is being charged with murder. This is insane. So we have got to take a look at this, okay? So former Fox TV anchor has been arrested for unaliving, okay, for M, after her elderly mother was found poked, stabbed to death. I hate saying poked because that sounds weird, okay? Especially when somebody losing their life like this, okay? But they, that's going to annoy you by poking you. No, she was attacked viciously, all right, with a very sharp object, all right? Now, Angelynn Mock, 47 years old, who anchored for Missouri's St. Louis local station Fox 2 about a decade ago, was taken into custody on Friday in Wichita, Kansas, for unaliving her 80-year-old mother, Anita Avers. So officers with the Wichita Police Department responded to an attack around 8 a.m. to find Mock, Angelynn, standing outside her home while her mother was discovered in a bed with multiple wounds. So Avers was taken to the hospital where she later passed away. Mock was also treated at the hospital, but the agency did not specify why. She was then booked on a charge of first-degree M. I have a feeling that she was attacking her so viciously that the knife probably slipped through her hands and maybe she cut her hands. Okay, just so you know. All right, so that's just my theory. But the once glamorous journalist worked for Fox 2 as an anchor and reporter from March of 2011 to February of 2015, according to her linked page. So Alyssa Castro, a neighbor who witnessed the aftermath of the gruesome incident, said Mock approached her, and her boyfriend with blood all over herself. So there was a woman who approached our vehicle with like blood, like her hands were filled. Her body was filled with blood, asking to call 911. So she must have, and this is what she originally looked like. This is what she looked like on camera on Fox 2 as a reporter, as an anchor, just so you know. All right. And then you're about to see what she looks like now. Don't worry, that's not her. That's her mom. Okay? That's her mother who tragically lost her life. So the startled resident told the outlet Mock begged to use her boyfriend's cell phone to call police and then ran back in the house with it. The phone was later returned to him by police. Castro recalled trying to help Mock as much as she could after authorities were called. I asked if she was okay, and she was pretty shooken up. And she seemed scared, and she just ran off. Sounds like a psychotic break. This is what it sounds like to me. Okay? Oh, it's a completely different person. Whoo! It's a different person. Hold on. Let me just keep this burned in your brain. This is what she originally looked like. You're about to see what she looks like now. But she ran off. Her husband, Avers' husband, told the outlet she was a marriage and family therapist with Wichita counseling professionals. Mock was booked into Sedgwick County Jail, where she's being held on $1 million bond. Here we go. There she is. That is her. Hold on. This is her here. Okay? She was an anchor from years 2011 to 2015. We are in 2025, so 10 whole years later, and there she is. This is a completely different woman. Completely different person, y'all. Completely. But let's continue on. There she is, look, with her mom. Completely different person. What happened here? So, news of Avers' shocking demise comes as the mother and daughter portrayed a happy relationship on social media. The 80-year-old's Facebook profile picture is an image of Mock reporting live on air at a baseball game. So another image showed the pair together, hugging and smiling. Details surrounding this attack remain unclear. To me, it sounds like this is a psychotic break. This is what it truly sounds like to me, but I could be wrong. Let's go over and take a look at some news here, because this does not make any earthly sense except for the fact that this anchor lost her marbles. That's what I truly think. But let me grab something here so we can see it for ourselves. But this is some wild stuff. Hold on. Jeez Louise. It's interesting because when you want to talk, you look at this and it's like there's not much information out here. There's like 30-second little blurbs about it, like, a former Fox 2 anchor stabs her mom to like it's this, that, you know what I mean? But when you just, you know what I mean? When you want something a little bit more robust, they don't give you nothing, which is annoying.
She was the person.
Again, we don't know what actually happened here. Okay. I think it's a psychotic break. It could have been substances under the influence of some sort of substance or something like that. I don't know, but we're going to play a little bit of this from Law and Crime because they actually covered it today too. I didn't know. So, hey, mazel tov. Let's take a look at this.
And you'd wake up to when you flipped on the morning news.
Rich in Texas is behind bars this morning after being caught on camera stealing her neighbor's Christmas lights. Who thinks of that?
That's part of her resume reel that's still on YouTube. She was the face and voice that viewers trusted, but now in a shocking turn of events, this former news anchor is now an accused murderer.
This is crazy.
This morning at 7:51 hours, officers responded to a stabbing call in the 1500 block of East Crowley.
She allegedly stabbed to death the person you might least expect, and police say she stabbed that victim multiple times. However, there appears to be a defense that she's going with. What she is saying her side of the story is to this horrific crime. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime.
Hold on. So she has wait. So she's trying to have some sort of excuse on what happened here? Watch her say something like, I just walked in and she was already attacked. And I was trying to help her and I just didn't know. You know what I mean? But I think there's something else. Like, clearly something's going on here. And that mugshot, okay? That mugshot, something's up.
I'm Chris Stewart. Wichita, Kansas, and we begin this episode of On the Case. I want to take a moment and talk about our partner in spot.
Oh, dear Lord.
As usual.
Come on. I know we all got to get paid, but diggity dang.
Super early. Sun might not be up, but they always have the energy. They always seem to be on top of whatever's going on in your community. And it makes what happens in this story so shocking. And we're following it out of Wichita, Kansas, and it involves a former morning news anchor who's now an accused murderer. This is Angelynn Mock. According to her LinkedIn, she used to work in local news for more than a decade. And that's the kind of job, I mean, I used to be in the industry. It might seem glamorous on the outside, but boy, it is a grind and it takes years of dedication, takes a lot of commitment and sacrifice. And apparently, Mock was someone who did pay her dues in the business. Her career started in November 2002. She was a sports reporter, started out at that small market station, tiny Lincoln, Nebraska, and it appears she really worked her way up through places like Rochester, Minnesota, Missoula, Montana, Oklahoma City, and then she made it to the biggest place she worked, St. Louis. She was a morning anchor in that city from March of 2011 through February of 2015. But in 2015, it appears she got out of the business and transitioned into software sales. Now, along the way, she did seem to have a ton of support from her family, especially her mom, a woman named Anita Avers. Avers worked as a clinical and family therapist in Wichita. Her biography reads that she specializes in treating adults experiencing depression, anxiety, spectrum disorders, trauma, and mood disorders, as well as relationship issues involving couples and marriages like family conflict, infidelity, and divorce. So
I got a question and a theory, because I've already, I haven't seen this video. Okay. And I do appreciate Law and Crime for, providing this video. But I have a feeling, could it be that the mother may have prescribed or diagnosed her with stuff? I don't know. Could her daughter have been the guinea pig? You see what I'm saying? Think about it. Yeah, she went from news to selling software, which is interesting. So I'm still wondering and that's the other thing too. Copper just said, what diagnosis did her daughter have? We don't know yet. I don't know. Okay. But again, it does make you wonder what actually happened while she was being brought up by her mom. And maybe the mom, and this of course is just a question. Could the mom have been, hey, take these pills, take these drugs, you see what I'm saying? So let's see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Let's play a little bit more.
Oh, she was a woman who really handled a lot of very serious issues involving mental health. And it also just appears that she was, at the end of the day, a proud mom of her daughter. In fact, her profile picture right now is her daughter, Angelynn Mock, and it appears Angie's out live in the field reporting. And this is a picture of the two of them together. This was posted in 2019. Now, a family therapist, a morning news anchor, a mother, and a daughter. Those details just make what happened on October 31st, according to Wichita police, just so difficult to comprehend.
This morning at 7:51 hours, officers responded to a stabbing call in the 1500 block of East Crowley.
Crazy.
When officers arrived on scene, they were met in the street with a 48-year-old white female who had suffered from some cuts to her hand. Officers went inside the residence, found an 81-year-old elderly female suffering from multiple stab wounds. Both were transported to local hospitals.
Police say Angelynn Mock, the former cheerful morning news anchor, killed her own mother, stabbing her multiple times. So here's what we know about what the scene looked like. There's a neighbor that told the local news station KAKE that Mock allegedly ran up to her and her boyfriend. This is what she said. That neighbor said, quote, "There was a woman who approached our vehicle with blood, like her hands were filled. Her body was filled with blood, asking to call 911. Just think of how terrifying a situation that would be if you were just driving down the street and that person comes up to you. But that neighbor said that Mock then took their cell phone and ran into the house, calling 911. She described Mock as acting scared. Now, Mock's mom, who you do see her hugging in this picture, Anita Avers, was rushed to the hospital. She was the victim, 81 years old. She passed away from multiple stab wounds, allegedly at the hands of her own daughter. Now here's Mock's mugshot. Her full name is Angelynn. She's 47 years old and she was taken into custody on first-degree murder charges. Now we did find the 911 dispatch chatter from when Mock called for help, and we do get a little bit of insight, a little bit of information about what Mock's side of the story may be. Listen to this.
Responding to the cutting at 1514 Scarlet Street. The calling party advised that mom tried to once to be the calling party stabbed her mom. The mother started slicing a CP and the calling party had to stab the mother to save herself. The mother is a white female, 5'9" heavy build, standoff on a rifle. Would you like to attack channel?
So that's the dispatch chatter. And the key part of what you're hearing there is that the dispatcher says that the 911 caller, who is Angelynn Mock, said something along the lines of needing to allegedly stab her mom to save herself. So could that mean that she is arguing that this was a case of self-defense?
No! How old is her mama again? She in her 80s or something like that, right? And now she's saying she was doing this out of self-defense? Nah, homie. I'm sorry. Nah. This is an episode of Snapped. Like literally, this is no. No. This is not. 80-something-year-old woman just suddenly out of nowhere just goes after. Nah. I don't believe. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I mean, obviously, this is just me, shooting from the hip here. This is my guttural reaction to this, okay? Raw reaction. It just seems like there's no way that she was doing this out of protection of herself. That she had to do this because it was I just don't believe the self-defense, okay? You see the mom. She's an 81-year-old woman. I don't see her out here, there's no photos or anything. She definitely does not look like she's physically able to do something that physically intimidating on the likes of a younger on her daughter. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that, but okay. She's saying this is new. Self-defense, guys. Self-defense.
Both Mock and her mom were taken to the hospital. Police say Mock did have cuts on her hands. It's unclear if those cuts are defensive wounds. It's also unclear if Mock and her mom, if they were dealing with any mental health issues or if the two had any previous issues between each other. Now, we weren't able.
Okay, and that's true too. Hold on. I'm breaking this down because I said it. I called it. I was like, okay, she had cuts on her hands. Why? Because she was probably attacking her mom and it was getting so messy, for lack of a better term, that the knife was slipping in her hands, right? That's still a possibility. But why would her mom go run after her, 81-year-old woman, run after her own young daughter, okay, much younger daughter, younger than her at least, okay? I'm just talking about age-wise, okay? Why would she go after her daughter like that? Why? To the point where she has, let's just say, defense wounds on her hands. You realize that it's a mom that's 80-something years old. She's not as physical or not as physically capable as, let's just say, the likes of Angelynn, okay? You don't think you could just push her down on knock the knife out of her hand and push her down on a couch and just, you know what I mean? Sit her down or something like that and sit on her, you know what I mean? And then call 911. You had to go and pick up the knife and plunge it into her multiple times because it's not just one hit and it's a wrap. It was multiple hits on her mom. This might be mental health issues due to just being that are natural, like, schizophrenia or bipolar or something of that sort. Or this mental health issue could be a result from addiction. I'm going to say that too. Because if you see her photo from what she was to what she is now, that's 10 years. Okay? And you could just see it in her face. It's like she just, oh, man. All right. You could see it in her face. Something ain't right, y'all. Something definitely ain't right.
Able to find any previous criminal history for Mock. It seems that her record up until this point was relatively clean, but Mock now is currently being held on $1 million bond in the county jail in Kansas, and this case is now in the criminal justice system. So many people who watch Mock on TV, as you can imagine, they're reacting to the news in shock. Now there is that big question of whether Mock murdered her mom with premeditation, which is what first-degree murder is in Kansas, or was this truly an act of self-defense? And in the word of dispatchers, is it something that Mock had to do to save herself? Joining us now to talk more about this is retired.
Okay, and then of course we're done with that, but of course the question remains: Like, what actually happened here? Why did this go down the way it went down? And how would she be able to prove without a shadow of a doubt that this was self-defense? This is a stretch to me. I think it's either mental health or severe addiction that just turned on its head. That's what I truly, truly think. I don't know, but we'll see about that.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.